If you clicked on this video, chances are you've at least heard of the Razer Naga. It's been a very popular MMO mouse for years and years, and there are a lot of variations of it. There's the Naga Trinity, the Naga Wireless, the Naga Chroma, just all kinds of Nagas. The current run is available in two iterations, the Razer Naga Trinity for $100 and the Razer Naga Wireless for $150. Well, what if I told you I have a very similar mouse here with 16 programmable buttons, RGB, reliable wireless connectivity, and a built-in rechargeable battery, all for only $50? That'd probably be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? Be pretty cool. This is the Redragon M913 Impact Elite RGB MMO wireless gaming mouse. I added in some of those words. It's not the official name, but it does all those things. It is a very ergonomically shaped mouse crafted to fit your right hand. Like seriously, it's one of the most comfortable mice that I've ever touched. And it has 12 programmable keys on the left side for easy access to all your hotkeys with your thumb, in addition to 4 programmable buttons on the top. Programmable is a hard word to say quickly. I stutter over that a lot. I'm just going to move on. Inside the box, there is an instruction manual, a sticker, the mouse itself, a wireless dongle, which you will need for the wireless connection, and a USB-C cable, which I was very surprised about. I don't think I've ever seen a wireless mouse with USB-C. There's probably some out there, but among the main heavy hitters in wireless mice, I don't think I've ever seen any. I think maybe the Glorious Model O wireless is going to have USB-C. I don't remember right now, but I was still like, wow, for a $50 Redragon mouse to have USB-C? That's pretty cool. So good on Redragon for updating to a new standard when even Apple won't do that on their iPhones. Upon first looking at this mouse, you'll probably notice its unique shape. I think this shape was probably a little more common. I feel like I see a lot of older gaming mice that have this shape, but it is kind of refreshing to see it on a mouse like this. This is not a type of mouse I would ever really use for first-person shooters. It's just too big, too weird of a grip, but for MMOs or productivity even, this is going to be right at home for long hours of use. When I first put my hand on it, it just seemed natural. It's just perfectly made to fit your little fingies, and it feels great. Typically with first-person shooter mice, like my main mouse lately, which is a Logitech G Pro Wireless, I am a fingertip gripper. But with this, you kind of have no choice but to be a palm gripper. You're not really going to be fingertipping this thing anytime soon. Now, obviously, these types of mice with these side buttons are mainly marketed for MMO players, maybe even MOBA players or RTS, but I will be totally honest, I have not been playing any MMOs as of late. I did start playing a couple of strategy games that I was able to use this on, like Northgard and Frostpunk, and it's good for hotkeys. I mean, it's gonna work and do what it does. The programmability really is diverse. Now, where I think a mouse like this could really stand out that maybe some people just don't think of is productivity. Since I wasn't playing an MMO at the time when I was testing this mouse, I decided I'm gonna use it for video editing, and it really works wonders. All of these extra keys just right there for your thumb to press. It's just really quick and easy, and the fact that I can just create all these macros and shortcuts and hotkeys, and then on my left hand I use the Razer Tartarus V2. I was editing like a pro as much as I could with, before Premiere inevitably crashes. You know what I'm talking about. If you use Premiere, it's gonna crash. And you can program each of these buttons through the mouse's software, which I will link in the description. You can program single key presses, you can program key combinations like Control-C, Control-V for quick copy and paste, Control-S so that you can save quickly and often because you know Premiere is going to crash inevitably, like I said. It happens. So you're going to save yourself some tears if you just put a save shortcut right there on the mouse and just hit that bad boy every once in a while. You can even program full-on macros, which I don't super use like elaborate macros, but the option is there. There's also a fire button on the right side of the right trigger, the right clicker there, and you can use it basically to, it does what a fire button typically does. I don't use fire buttons on like gaming mice that have them. I haven't really even have a lot of gaming mice that have a fire button, but if you know what it does that. I'm real good at explaining things. The PixArt 3335 optical sensor does work perfectly fine. I'm not the type of person who's too picky with mouse sensors as long as they don't have like a weird liftoff problem like some mice that I've tested in the past do. I think that it's going to be perfectly fine. It does go up to 16,000 DPI, which you are most likely never going to need, but hey, gaming marketing, it's there, and that's what it does. It's able to go up there if you so choose. You can adjust the DPI in increments of 100 with up to 5 presets per mode with 2 modes on the mouse. The DPI can be toggled by these 2 buttons below the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel feels kind of weirdly not satisfying when you scroll, but it does feel pretty nice when you click in on it. The triggers, I mean, they work. There's nothing really to complain about, nothing to really sing about either. There are some mice out there that do have really nice feeling triggers that sound really nice, they feel crisp. I wouldn't say that this feels bad, but it just doesn't really stand out. Here's just a quick and lazy sound test for you. There you go. As sort of to be expected when you have all these buttons on the side, pressing some of them can be a little awkward. Like numbers 1 through 9 feel fine, but then once you get to 10 through 12, your hand starts to do like this weird claw thing, especially at 12. So for that, on buttons 10, 11, and 12, I would probably recommend something that you really won't use all that often. You still want to hotkey it, but it's not something you're going to rely on super commonly. Probably keep those at like 1 through 9 and then just use 10 through 12 for something that's like an emergency. Now say you want to use this for an MMO of some kind and you want to use it for productivity, but you don't want to have to tweak the hotkeys in your game or in whatever productivity you're doing just to make it so that you have the buttons all make sense. Well, luckily this has 2 modes, which can be switched by this mode switch button on the bottom. Each mode will have its own independent lighting, its own DPI settings, its own hotkeys / macros, whatever you want to do. It's basically like you have this mouse twice. Now this is a wireless mouse, meaning that the battery will run out if you use the RGB. Luckily the RGB does kind of turn off after only like a minute or so if you're not touching the mouse, so it is able to cut down on battery life a little bit. Say you do want to extend the battery life though, there is an eco mode that you can switch to instead of on. That will basically make it so the mouse functions without any of the lighting being on. Redragon says that with the RGB you're probably going to get about 45 hours, but without it you're probably going to extend that to around 80 hours. And of course you can still use the mouse while it's plugged in. The RGB has a surprising lack of customizability. Basically there are 3 presets and neon is the only one that has more than one color at a time, with the lights sweeping from front to back. I personally prefer to just have a static color on because it just looks the best. Some of the color doesn't blend all that well and you end up getting weird shades of like a weird pinkish white. It just doesn't look all that great for RGB. But when you actually just choose a static color to keep it on, it should more or less look like what you would expect that color to look like. The top is a really super smooth rubberized texture. If you've ever used a mouse that's super rubberized on top for a long time, you know that that's going to start to get pretty dirty, and especially if you're just eating Doritos while you're playing World of Warcraft, that you're going to get all that gamer gunk on there, and that's no good. Nobody wants that. And if you're familiar with this channel, you've been watching some of my tech videos for a while, you know how much I do not like gloss. Well, the sides are super glossy. And I guess for this mouse with this shape, it does look kind of cool. It almost looks like a Batmobile sometimes. Maybe that's just me. Probably. The gloss at least is kind of there for necessity. With as wide as this mouse is and the way that it's shaped, I think they really had to go with gloss on the sides, so I will at least give it a pass for that. I will say I have not been using this mouse exclusively in the time that I've tested it, and yet the rubber still managed to get like at least a little dirty. It's probably not super visible on camera here, but I can feel it. Now I know what you're thinking, oh, fat guy likes to eat, he's probably got just pizza fingers all over his mouse. Listen, I was not eating, I don't really eat at my desk anymore, and I was not eating while I used this mouse. It just managed to build up oils and dirt from being human. It happens. That's why I don't like rubberized mice. I can speak. But all in all, would I recommend the Redragon M913 Impact Elite Wireless RGB Chroma V2? Would I recommend this mouse? Yes, I would say if you are in the market for this type of mouse, maybe you want something specifically that is wireless, that is similar to a Razer Naga, but you don't want to spend a ton of money. There are other brands out there, there is other competition in this price range, but I feel like Redragon, and this is completely unbiased, I know I've reviewed products from Redragon in the past and they send me this mouse even to review, but I feel like Redragon is one of those budget brands that is more reliable, higher quality, and more trustworthy for their products to work. Maybe you primarily play first-person shooters, but you want to play an MMO and you want one of these mice with their programmable buttons, but you don't want to spend a ton of money, and wireless is always a plus, then this is definitely worth recommending. Personally, for me, if I had to buy one and it was between this and the Naga, I would have no problem going with this for only 50 bucks. The Razer Naga, from what I've heard, I mean, I've never had one, but from what I hear, there's like horror stories online of it breaking down over like not that long a period of time, like maybe less than a year for some people, and those are the ones that cost like 100 bucks. The wireless Razer Naga is 3 times the price as this. For this, if this breaks, you just buy 2 more for backup at the same price that you'd buy a Naga, and then that's it. You're done, you're good, you're set. If you're looking to pick up something around this price range that will do what this mouse does, look at this one, check it out. There is a link in the description below which you guys can take a look at. I gotta go, I'm out of here. My Instacart order is on the way. If you like this video, you can watch this one here, or this one here. You have a good day. Click subscribe if you want to as well. This is a weird ending for a mouse video. Goodbye.